Hello, welcome to Oxford Heirlooms. In this video, we're going to work on attaching the gathered lace to all four sides of the brim of the bonnet. Now, what I have done preliminarily is I folded the brim in half and I marked the entredeaux at the center back and the center front. I also marked it at the center of each of the sides. So what I have is I have the bonnet separated into four equal sections. Okay. Now I've also cut a length of lace that's a little more than 1.5 times the distance around the bonnet. Okay, I needed to do a little bit more than 1.5 because I need to be able to have a little bit of fullness when I turn the corners. But before I can start gathering lace, I need to trim the excess batiste away from my entredeaux so that I have just an entredeaux bead going around the edge of the bonnet. I think I'm going to clip that off right there too. Okay, so that's one side. Okay, and I need to trim along the front of the bonnet also. So just make some nice corners and trim that excess batiste off away from the entredeaux. Okay, so this will take me a minute to get this trimmed all the way across the front, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got my length of edging lace and I folded it in half and I marked it at the center of the length of lace, and then I folded it again and I marked it at both of the quarter marks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gather the lace from both sides, and each time I'm going to gather until 1/4 of the lace roughly fits between the center front and the center side. Okay, so let me start gathering lace. It's going to take me a minute to gather and to get this all adjusted to where it's roughly the right size. So let me see if I can pull a header thread out. There we go. Okay, and I'll start gathering towards the center. I'm going to gather from the, I'm going to gather this, well, I've got 4 quarters. So if this end quarter is the first quarter, I'm going to gather the second quarter first and the first quarter second. So I hope that makes sense. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the entire length of lace to where it roughly fits around the edge of the bonnet. Okay, I've got half of the lace gathered to where it is roughly the same length as the right half of the bonnet. Okay, so I need to gather from the other end of the edging lace and do the same thing. So let me grab a header thread. Use a silk pin to grab a header thread. Okay, I got my header thread out, and I will begin to gather from this other edge, and I'll do the same thing. I'll gather it until it's roughly halfway around the bonnet, and then I'll be back. Okay, I've got that lace all gathered till it's roughly the correct size. Now I am starting roughly 1/2 of an inch on the top side of my center blue mark, and I'm simply going to slowly, particularly while I'm doing it here on the back, I'm going to zigzag this gathered lace to the entredeux band that's next to the bonnet brim. Just kind of hold my poof gathers down and keep this straightened up. And then when I get to the corner, I will turn the corner and keep going. Pull my lace over a little bit. There we go. It was getting a little bit far away from the entredeux. So what I'm doing is I'm going in the entredeux hole on the left, and I'm simply sewing the header of the gathered lace on the right. Okay, so this is going to take me a while to get, at least to get down to this corner, so I'll be right back. Okay, I've gotten down to the corner. Now what I have done, where I have stopped, is I've got my needle on the left and it's in the last entredeux hole. So I'm going to pivot and bring the lace where it's butted up against the entredeux again. And I'm going to continue to sew down this second side. And fortunately, my little blue mark doesn't quite line up, but that's okay. It's better that it is beyond the mark rather than ahead of the mark. Because if I was ahead of the mark, I might not have enough lace to get all the way around the brim. But what I'm doing is when I got to that corner, I moved some of the gathers to where I had a nice little bunch right where I had to turn the corner. You see, I need to move my gathers here to where they're down at the corner. So let me move some gathers, because I'll have another corner to turn in just a minute. And when I get down to this end, I will stop with my needle on the left side, and I'll go into the last entredeux hole and stop briefly. Let me do this last one by hand. Okay, now I'm in the last entredeux hole, so I'm going to pivot again, bring my lace around, and start working my way up the front now. Now, if you find this too hard to do and you would rather hand whip your lace onto the bonnet, that's perfectly fine. I just am not a fan particularly of gathered lace, of whipping gathered lace to entredeux. It's a rather tedious little chore. Looks pretty, but it's a tedious chore. So once again, just continue. Go in the entredeux hole on the left and catch the header of the gathered lace on the right. Okay, this is going to take me a while to get all the way around the bonnet, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm almost back to the center back of the bonnet top. So I'm going to sew the lace on till I'm about a ½ inch past the blue mark on this side of the blue mark this time. There. And clip my threads. There, now we've got the lace zigzagged on. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit. And so when it goes over the baby's head, the gathers are all along the edge of the bonnet. Okay, so that gets the gathered lace on. That, took a while, but it's doable. And like I said, if you struggle with putting it on with the sewing machine, then by all means, hand sew your lace on. But in the next video, we will sew the silk ribbons to the ends of the bonnets. I'm going to sew them on with some little bullion roses, like what I did on the dress. And then we'll run some ribbon through the back of the bonnet so that the bonnet will truly poof like it should. And then we'll be finished with the bonnet. But like I said, in this video, we were running the lace around the edges of the brim. Thank you.